brother and sister. Let me start today by welcoming Her Excellency Commissioner Elham Mahmood Ibrahim, Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy. Let me also welcome you. This is our first press conference for the day. We will have others. Madam Commissioner Elham Mahmood Ibrahim will address you on very important and serious issue. Is it connecting, integrating, and transforming Africa? Commissioner, thank you very much. I will give you the floor to do a brief presentation, and after that we will give the opportunity to our media to ask questions. So please, thank you so much, and you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Madam Director. Good morning, everybody, and congratulations for our celebration this week, or even all this year, the 50th anniversary of the OAU, since it was established in 1990. Yes, 1963. I think this occasion is very important to all of us as African and also as a whole world. For us as Africans, we are celebrating this occasion to reflect on from where we have come, where we are now, and where we are going. What is the future we are looking for? How we can reach this united and integrated, peaceful, and prosperous Africa. This is the issue that I'm going to discuss with you today. And I'm sure that we all know that this issue of integration was a very important goal for all our leaders since the days of struggling for liberalization, for our freedom, for our independence. It started so many years ago to have Africa integrated. In our department responsible for infrastructure and energy, it was important to set also our vision on how we can support the African Union vision for, as I said, united, prosperous, peaceful continent. We set our vision like that, to have integrated infrastructure of transport, information and communication technologies, and energy that is safe, reliable, efficient, affordable, and capable of promoting regional and continental integration and sustainable development of the continent. I think there is no doubt that infrastructure is a critical tool for both development and integration. And that's why we set our theme as interconnecting, integrating, and transforming Africa. So again, infrastructure is a critical tool also for development, for transforming Africa to the future that we needed for our continent and our people. As we all know that Africa has a lot of opportunities for development. I can mention the natural resources, the young people. As you know, more than 50% of the population is the youth. below 25 years old. So this is a good asset or a very important asset for our continent. Besides that, we all know that the education is growing in the continent, and the future is really promising for this continent. As infrastructure, it was always on the top of priorities on the political and technical levels. Why? Because, as I mentioned in the beginning, it is a critical tool for achieving what we need by exploiting our resources, by finding markets for marketing our products, for example, and also for giving the needed tools for development, like energy, for example. How we can industrialize our continent without energy. Even how we can keep the people in good health without energy. I think all these issues are known for all of us. You know that about 2% of our GDP can be missed yearly if we don't develop our infrastructure. Where we want to use our infrastructure, how we want it to go, what are the expected role of our infrastructure in the development of the continent, to be effective and do what we are expecting from. We want our infrastructure to be used for industrialization, especially in the mining area, in the agribusiness, in the agriculture in general, in opening and integrating the markets in the continent. As you know, in Africa we are 54 countries, I mean as members of the African Union. Too big number, but there are some small countries, I mean in the size, and with sometimes a small population, which cannot alone achieve what is expected from development. That's why integration, and I mean infrastructure integration on the regional or continental level, is very crucial for us, for our development. As you know, infrastructure can cost, or the estimated cost of infrastructure in our products ranges between 40 to 70%, while in other regions it's only between 20 and 40%. So it is about the double. So why? Because it is not efficient, it's not affordable, it's not even sufficient to do the work needed. That's why the African Union Commission, to achieve its vision for united, integrated, and prosperous Africa, mandated the Department of Infrastructure and Energy to tackle this problem. And for the first time in the history, we have in the African Union Commission a strategic program for the development of infrastructure in the continent, in Africa. I think you all heard about it, because we kept telling about it for 2 years. It is the program PIDA, PIDA. What is this program? It's an integrated program which set the priorities for infrastructure development in 4 sectors: transport, energy, information and communication technology, and transboundary water, to the period up to 2040. It has been designed in 3 phases. The first phase is up to 2020, which we call it the Priority Action Plan, which have, or let me nominate them first, and then I'll go back to the Priority Action Plan. The second phase from 2020 to 2030, and the third phase from 2030 to 2040. The total estimated cost for this program is $360 billion US. Let me go back to the first phase, which we are living with now. It's the period up to 2020. It has 51 projects. 15 projects in the energy sector, 24 in the transport sector, 9 in transboundary water, and 3 programs for the information and communication technology. All of these programs, I mean for PIDA, it's regional and continental projects, not to be confused with the projects on the national level. I think this should be clear for all of us. The cost of the Priority Action Plan is $68 billion US, and the projects are in different phases of implementation. Some of them started already to be implemented. Some of them have their feasibility studies. Some of them are still in the pre-feasibility study. So these are the projects that we are working now. One of the indicators or the phenomena that ensure or show clearly the interest of our leaders in developing infrastructure in the continent and their support to the PIDA program is the presidential initiative for championing infrastructure projects in the continent. You know, the regional projects has a special character because, you know, it has so many stakeholders. Even on the country level, each project has more than 2 or 3 countries involved in the project. So sometimes there will be some bottlenecks. It can be technical, but the technical issue is not the major ones. Can be political, so the intervention of high personality on the presidents or head of state or head of government will be very effective. That's why this presidential initiative was announced by President Jacob Zuma to let some of our leaders to champion some of these projects. For example, I'll just give 1 or 2 examples. The North-South Corridor, it's one of the PIDA projects. It's championed by President Zuma. For example, President Sall in Senegal is championing the Dakar-Djibouti corridor. Other projects like the gas pipeline from Algeria to Nigeria, it's championed by Nigeria, another corridor from Algeria to Lagos, championed by Algeria, for example. So some of these projects, for now we have 7 projects championed by 7 heads of state and government. And you can see how this initiative can help and push forward the implementation of our projects. Every summit, the partners of this initiative come together, they had their meeting, they discuss and report on the improvement of these projects and how they are progressing. If there is something, they can also, some problems that they can discuss together and see how they can facilitate it. I'm also happy to mention that on the global level, there is interest from investors worldwide to participate in the implementation of PIDA. And it was really very supportive that now Africa, as many other areas, speaks in one voice on its priorities in infrastructure sectors. We were in the World Economic Forum 2 weeks ago, where the investors and especially the private sector show their interest in the implementation and participation in investing in Africa. The same was in Poland last week. It was the Europe Economic Congress. We also noticed the interest of the European in Eastern and Central Europe to come to Africa. Even they have this initiative called Go Africa. So they are started to visit some countries, and they are even interested to do some regional projects. We all know still there are some difficulties, some need for more attractive environment for private sector especially. And I think the African Union Commission and even all our member states, they are working together to set this environment which can help and support the participation of the private sector, because as you know, the investment needs for infrastructure is huge. It needs public and private sectors to work together in implementing and achieving these projects. I have the pleasure also to announce that on the 25th of May, the African Union Commission, together with NIBAD Coordinating and Planning and Coordinating Agency, will launch together the virtual PIDA Information Center, where you can find all the information about infrastructure, about the projects, because I'm mentioning that because always we were asked where we can find information about this project, for example, where we can find more details about that. So after launching this information center, I think it will be easy for all of us to go and see and get the information we need about PIDA and its different projects. I think I can stop here, and if there is any question, I'm ready to answer.
Thank you, Madam Commissioner. I recognize the presence of my brother, the Director for Infrastructure and Energy, Baba Musa, Abubakari Baba Musa, who joined us. Thank you, Director. So now I open the floor for your question, please. Yes, here, please.
My name is Yuan Jirong. I'm journalist of the People Daily from China. I want to ask a question. What's the Chinese contribution of the Africa infrastructure development? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, please.
David Worp is my name, from Zambia. A number of African countries, especially in the southern region, are facing a critical energy deficit. Maybe what is your department or directorate doing to assist such countries at least to overcome these challenges of power deficits, which has come as a result of a booming investment? Thank you.
Thank you. One more question. Yes, please.
Je vais la poser en français, pardon.
Okay.
But just wait.
Est-ce que vous pourriez nous parler de l'importance... C'est bon?
It's okay.
Est-ce que vous pourriez nous parler de l'importance des partenariats pour réaliser justement ces infrastructures dans le cadre du PIDA? Oui. Merci.
Thank you. Excellency, you have the floor.
Okay. Thank you very much for your interest and your very important questions. The first one from China, about China participation in developing infrastructure in Africa. I think the role of China is very clear on the national level. On our member states, where we go, we can see a lot of projects implemented by China investors or China government. What we are still looking for is the participation of China in the regional and continental projects. We have now still discussion going on between us and the government of China to do something on that level, and we appreciate and welcome this cooperation in this area. Okay. The second one about it's Zambia, about the energy deficit and what our department doing in this sector. Fortunately, in the energy sector, we already started some projects. I mean, by us as a Department for Infrastructure and Energy, beside the PIDA program, where we have 15 projects in the first phase. We started some projects on the renewable energy area, for example. We all know that the solar energy is huge, or the potential is huge in Africa. Africa has the solar belt in it, and we can use it to produce the energy which can satisfy all our needs. In this area, we just finished one phase of the study on evaluating this potential and how we can use it, especially in the Sahara regions. As you know, we have 3 main regions of Sahara in the continent. We finished Sub-Sahara region. We're still working on the other 2 regions in Eastern and Southern Africa. Another source of renewable energy, which is really also very, very promising, is geothermal energy. And in this area, we set up with our partners, I mean the government of Germany and European Union, a fund for supporting the developers of geothermal projects in Eastern Africa. We have for now 50 million euro to support the surface studies and drilling processes for these projects. As you know, this process is very risky. The developer can spend a lot, and at the end he can find the the suitable and enough geothermal which can run or produce electricity. So that's why we have established this fund to support partially the developers in these two phases of the projects. For now, we announced the first round of the project in 5 countries in the region. We received the interest of some countries, of some companies, and then we announced them to bid for the project, and it was, I think, last month where we opened the bids, and there are 6 projects applying to get support from this fund. I think this is something concrete which we can all feel it, and when these projects are implemented, it will be very clear and very useful for our people to get clean and sustainable energy in their regions. We are looking for second round and third round, and we are also looking for more funds for this facility, because as you know, if all the projects are accepted or are qualified to get these funds, we will need more than 130 million. For now, as I mentioned, we have only 50, but I think when we succeed in one of them, it will attract everybody to come and participate and join us in this successful area in the energy sector. These are examples of what we are doing in the energy sector. We are mainly looking for generation of electricity, pipelines for gas and oil, and interconnection. Because as you know, if we have the generated power in some point while the needs in another point, interconnection is crucial for making use of the production and at the demand areas. The last question was on about the importance of partnership in implementing PIDA. Yes, it is important. And as I mentioned in my introduction, that really there is interest on different level, on I can say, on the governmental or public level, and also on the private level. And we already have some partnerships with our development partners, like, for example, European Union, like what I mentioned with Germany, like what we have with many other, like in ICT area, we have also some projects with some countries. Partnership, yes, it is needed, and on the basis of win-win. I think now we cannot say that we are waiting for donation or grants from here or there. No, I think now the business in the infrastructure sector, and I'm sure it is also for other sectors, should be based on mutual respect, mutual benefit for me as Africa, and also for my partner. And there is room for that, and we can do it together. So the partnership is welcomed and appreciated for what we have already. I think I responded to the 3 questions I got.
Yes, Excellency. We will take one more question, the last one, the final one, please.
The gender balance.
Thank you very much. I am Emnet from Adi Standard Local Magazine. Ms. Commissioner, you've mentioned that there are projects already started. I want to know how the AU is planning to go about the funding of these projects? And if you can be very specific in telling us what projects have already been started. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. I can tell you some of the projects. Let me say for energy, for example. The list of the 15 projects in energy, some of them really in the implementation phase, like Zambezi powerhouse. And the funding, especially for this one, it is a good example for the partnership between private and public sector. Other example for the corridors. We are talking about, as one of the corridors, Cairo, Cape Town. So there are some links missing in some countries. Between Egypt and Sudan, for example. There is a part, I think it's about 300 kilometers or more. It's already finished, already to be inaugurated soon. In Ethiopia, there is work going on to complete the link between Addis Ababa and Mombasa. Other links also are going on. So these are some examples for, because you see that the work cannot be done in one moment. Or we can say, for example, let us take this example of Cairo-Cape Town corridor. We cannot say that we are working now in Cairo-Cape Town corridor, because already there are some big part of this corridor has been done. But what we did, or what we are looking for, is to just implement the missing links in different countries. And the member states, as they are keen about taking action on implementing infrastructure, each country is doing his best to implement what is needed within its territories. So this is one example. You asked about the financing. Financing, we are setting, or we are proposing some sources of finance. We put a great emphasis on our domestic money as Africans. We have a lot. For PIDA, for example, the needed cost for PIDA projects is less than 1% of the African GDP. So it is not too much, but we have to think about it, how to make it, how to cooperate together. We need some solidarity, some wider circle to put for our interest, not to only to look our country level. No, let us look wider. Those countries who can invest, they can invest in regional projects. And I think we have also another good example. I can mention this road between Algeria and Nigeria. The Algerian government already about to finish what is in its territories, and they are ready to do what is in Niger, I think, yes. And at the same time, Nigeria is working on the same corridor in its territory. So this is the way. If we agree on some project, let us think about how we can make it with our money. But at the same time, if our partners, the private sector, is interested, they are welcome. they can do business, they can get revenues, and at the same time, we can get infrastructure in our countries. So this is the issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Commissioner. Thank you, dear colleagues. Please, we will have the next press conference at 11, and it will be chaired by the Chief of Staff, Jean-Baptiste Natama, and he will address you on Africa, a partner to count with in 2063, and it will respond to a question regarding the partnership, the strategic partnership African Union has with many partners. I thank you again,
Thank you.
Excellency.
Thank you.